All right, so start of turn 7. I hope that is full in view here. Let's see, I think that should do it. Turn 7. As you know, turn 6 was more or less a disaster. We did win a battle on the high seas, so that was one strong point. The Napoleon abdication marker is at 10. So we went ahead and we started off turn 7 already. I did the get money phase, transferred money back and forth. So currently my treasury is sitting at £8. My minor war fund is at £13, and my admiralty fund is at £3. And then we went ahead and we did the printed event, which is the continental system. This is basically where Napoleon, once he controlled all the ports along northern Europe there, he created a European-wide embargo on all British goods, British trade, etc. So really trying to shut the British down at that point. So what we did is we added one no war chit to the cup, as well as the Duchy of Warsaw, which is a -3 client state. It is a horrible client state to draw. And we also placed the continental system chit marker in the high seas box. Now what that will do starting next turn in the get money phase, we will roll a d6 and that will subtract that many pounds from our total income. So my total income right now is 14 because we added Goya, who's worth £1 a turn. So it'll be 14 minus 1d6 during the get money phase is what my income will be. It also raised fervor up in Germany, France, and Italy because of the bonuses that those countries got from, the lack of competition from Britain during that trade era. So they were very happy with those embargoes. Their fervor all went up +5, which now all maxed out at a total of 16 are Italy, Spain, France, and Germany. So Germany went from being, fully on my side to, at a level 6 fervor to fully 100% in favor of Napoleon, maxed out at 16 and in the course of one turn. So it's just an absolute disaster at this point. Europe is basically entirely in favor of Napoleon, with the exception of Austria, who are still very well in favor of us for the most part. Um, Other than that, we haven't drawn the chits yet, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. The high diplomacy phase is what we're getting ready to go into, and we are going to draw a total of 3 chits for turn 7. So the first one is going to be Battle of Trafalgar, which is a bad thing because that's going to remove Nelson from this game regardless, even if we win the battle. But basically what it is going to do is it's going to be another battle on the high seas. I'm going to look it up just in case I may be forgetting something, but after the result, okay, first fight this as a normal naval battle. After the result is applied, no matter who won, discard Nelson. He was shot by a French sniper. I would say sharpshooter instead of sniper, but oh well. If the player wins, also place the Royal Navy in the high seas, discard the French fleet, and ignore future naval battle accidents. Put the Trafalgar marker in the high seas as a reminder of your victory. If the player loses, watch what happens when Napoleon invades England. Roll 1d6 and decrease the die roll by -1. So basically, if we lose, there might be a chance of Napoleon invading the British homeland here. So we obviously will want to avoid losing. The good thing is we will knock out the French fleet entirely. The bad thing is about this, regardless of what we win or lose, is there's not going to be any more battles on the high seas. And the naval battles have been really pumping up my Napoleon abdication level. And without that, I was hoping to get a couple more battles in on the high seas before we drew that chit. But, things happen. So we can't afford to lose this. We're going to go ahead and spend all £3 from our Admiralty budget. So we're going to roll 3d6 and it's going to be +3. We're going to need a 10 or higher. And well, that was a 4, not a 6. I accidentally flipped it. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we did end up winning the naval battle. So We're going to go ahead and kill Nelson. He's dead. And the French fleet has been annihilated, so there is no more French fleet either. Takes care of that. Napoleon abdication marker raises from 10 to 11. We're so close to victory, I can smell it. And it's such a shame because I think things are going to take an awful turn for me at this point from here on out. This has actually gone very smooth for the most part, what I've experienced in my other playthroughs with this game. So, anyway, let's go ahead and draw the second chit now that we have resolved all that. We didn't lose, so there's no invasion of England. Second chit is going to be Bavaria 3. And so, was that supposed to be? I think that may have been in the wrong cup there. I need to look that up. Give me just 1 second. Okay, yeah, that is where he was supposed to be, was that in a high diplomacy cup. So now they are added to the French force pool. So the French now have Bavarian help along with all the other help that they've been receiving this last turn or so. That's no good. One thing I did miss, there was a client state in Spain, and since the Spanish and French have started an ally, that client state was removed and discarded. So I just took that off the map right now. And now we have one more chit to pull. And it's going to be a no war marker. So that'll be discarded here. And that takes care of all of that. Now we're going to see where the French diplomats. Do we want to buy an additional chit for £3? Where's my treasury at? 8. Man, with no naval battles, let's see how many more. We still have Switzerland and Denmark minor wars. Serbia, that's 3 strategic wars that we could win. That's enough to put us up to 14 on a Napoleon abdication marker, which would leave 2 left. We'll just let it flow how it goes. And also, oh, the Russian strategic marker as well. It's cutting it close. I don't know. We'll have to see. Anyway, we'll go ahead and go on to the diplomacy phase here. I believe that's what's next. Yes. So, let's see where the first one goes. 2 is going to be, I think that's going to be Germany. It is. So that's going to be a wasted roll for the French. That's good. And the next one is going to be a 6, which is Germany the Blue Nation this turn? Yes, it is. I already adjusted that. So that's also going to be in Germany and another wasted roll. So that's a good thing for us. There's not going to be any new French diplomats deployed this turn, and now we can go ahead and get on to the counter diplomacy phase. So what I am going to do is I am going to put all 4 of my diplomats here to remove them, and I'm going to try and get these 2 diplomats out of Germany. If I can do this, then I can also try to realign Germany and Russia. And that would bring them back into the fold, and that would put me right back into this game. If this fails, then I don't know what I'm going to do here. So we'll first handle these 2 on the left. We'll start with the highest rated 4. We're going to need a 4 or lower here. So let's see what happens. We roll 6. That's going to fail. So now we'll do his second one, which is going to need a 3 or lower. And we roll 3. So that is very good. He will be removed and placed back to the hotel. And now we have the 2 diplomats here. The first one will go with the level 4, so 4 or lower. And we roll a 2 on the first attempt. That is going to, whoop, wrong guy. That's going to take care of that. And now, I believe we can attempt to realign both Germany and Austria. Let me just do a quick rules lookup, make sure I'm doing this right here. I'll be right back. All right, so we have cleared all diplomats from Germany. There's no French diplomats in Austria, so that clears the way for both Germany and Austria to be brought back into the coalition here. I had a £8 in my treasury. It cost me £4 to deploy all those diplomats to counter debate the French who were in Prussia, and that leaves us with £4, which is just enough. It's going to cost £2 per nation to bring these back into the fold. There is no die roll. They are going to be automatically done, and normally it would cost an additional pound for every lost war marker we have on the map, but we have yet to lose a minor war this game, and there is none, so it is going to be a straight £2 per. So that will take our treasury from 4 to 0, and Prussia is going to be once again in the coalition, so we'll put that coalition marker there. And Russia is also going to be back in the coalition, and that's going to take care of that, so we can take our forces back, and that is much, much needed. That is a very good thing. And the next thing we will do is, I wanted to talk about, so I don't think it really had any effect. Maybe Austrian should have gone down a little bit more, but I'm not going to go back and rechange it. It's actually going to hurt me. So, but when a country surrenders, you decrease that nation's fervor because they've been humiliated by Napoleon. So Germany very well may not have been maxed out on fervor, but it still would have been really close. So I think they still would have been pretty high up there. But Austrian fervor more than likely would have declined to darn near the bottom of the chart there. So, but like I said, it's not going to help me by making that mistake. So I'm not going to go back and fix it. I'm just going to leave it how it is. And we're going to go ahead and continue on with this game. So we have completed the high diplomacy phase and the diplomatic phase, as well as the counter diplomacy phase. And now we are going to go on and do the Grand Army phase and the coalition phase. And I'm going to, as always, do that off camera and come back to see what Napoleon does. So Germany is the Bui nation. And since we have our allies back here, we may be able to make a stand and continue this fight and hopefully win this turn. And think if I can win a couple more turns along with the strategic battles that are left, I think I could have my first win in this game. So we'll see what happens. Okay, so we went ahead and did the Grand Army phase. So we deployed 4 corps in France, and then we drew the Bui forces, which there are 3 cavalry units in that Bui stack, which is the reason I'm doing this, because I don't want to forget any details, because I think this was a vital Grand Army phase in favor of the coalition, the way this went down. So first off, there's only 1 cavalry unit outside of Germany, and that's in France thus far. There is 3 cavalry units in Germany, which is the Bui nation. So if I can perform the Bui fight first, we're only risking dragging 1 cavalry over, and we could potentially defeat all the French cavalry in one swoop and get them out, and then they wouldn't be able to support the battles elsewhere. So we had the 4 here, the 4 there, and then 2 diplomatic forces, which were the Spanish 3 corps and the Bavarian 3 corps, went to Spain, and 1 corps, the 5 corps, went to Italy, and then 2 additional corps went to France, a 4 and a 4, because of the 2 diplomats there. In the next phase, we rolled, it was a 5 right here, whoops, for the Napoleon invasion, and it's +7 for the turn number, which that equaled a 12, and a 12 on the chart is, you can see it right here, Spain 4 corps, Italy 2 corps. So Spain, which really has nothing to do with this turn at all, received the 4 nations, and actually it was a 6, a 6, a 6, and a 3. So quite a hefty force pool went to Spain to invade Spain, even though they were already Spanish French allies there. So, and the other place was 2 corps went to Italy, a 6 and a 4. So a lot of the forces went to Spain. There's a lot of forces in France. The largest French cavalry um, is basically focused in on Germany. So I'm hoping to wipe them out in the opening battle. And I think we can win Germany, Austria, and Italy, especially since we have the Prussian forces and the Russian forces back in play here. I think this can easily be done. So I'm hoping to win this turn. Of course, it's going to be depend on what Napoleon does. Hopefully, I don't draw or roll a grand strategy roll on the Napoleon table, and hopefully the Bouille stays in Germany. It'd be a disaster if the Bouille was moved to, France or Spain. That would just be horrible. So let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and do the coalition here, and I'll be right back. All right, so I've deployed my forces, and something worth mentioning here is I am broke at £0 in my treasury, so unfortunately, I did not have enough money to hire any duchy forces whatsoever. So it's strictly my coalition force pool here. Um, I think there's a good chance that Napoleon could go to Austria or Germany based off of the chart, how I was studying and what turn it is. So I think these are his two highest chances, and that's why I went ahead and deployed, uh, a healthy number of forces in Austria just in case Napoleon shows up there. So in Austria, I have a total of 16 battle points in case Napoleon shows up. 2 of those are Russian cavalry. And those Russian cavalry, if Napoleon does not show up here, those Russian cavalry will be able to react either into Prussia or into Italy if Napoleon goes to one of those places, or if I feel that they're going to need some extra assistance there. Um, in Prussia itself, which is the Bouille nation, there is a French total of 19 battle points. My coalition total right now is 31. So I think I'm up by a total of 12 there. And then in Italy, there is 15 French battle points. And I have 27 battle points between the Russian and the Austrian forces there. So let's go ahead and we're going to see where Napoleon goes. He's still young, so it is going to be 1d, or doesn't matter. That doesn't affect the Napoleon roll. So it's going to be 1d6 plus the turn level, which is 7. So 7 plus 4 is going to be 11. Oh, man. That's going to be grand strategy. So this is not good here. It's been a couple games since I've had to do grand strategy, so let me look this up really quickly. If Napoleon delivers this result, roll another die to determine a random nation. 6 equals the Bouille, and place Napoleon in that nation. If Napoleon lands in a nation other than the Bouille nation, move the Bouille nation marker and move the Bouille stack of 4 French corps. So I'm really hoping we roll a 2 or a 6 to keep him in Germany here. So let's find out where he goes. And we roll a 4, which is going to be Italy. So the Bouille stack is going to go down into Italy. And let's see. 854. 854. I got to see if he's going to deploy any additional forces as well. Give me just 1 second to clarify this. Okay, so now the rules for the most part in this game are very clear. However, it's a little confusing when you go to the grand strategy. I couldn't find any specifications of what these bracketed numbers mean. So I'm assuming that on the grand strategy roll, Napoleon will take 8 corps with him when he's young, 5 when he's coronated, and 1 when he's old man Napoleon. So from my understanding, he's going to be taking 8 corps with him on the grand strategy roll into Italy. So there was only 4 corps left in the cup, which I think were these bottom ones. I don't remember. So I took those 4 corps out of the French corps cup, put them down, and then according to the rules, he was able to draw 4 more corps out of Spain and bring them over to Italy. So he just brought a gigantic army with him into Italy, which is the new Bui nation. I didn't move that marker down. And so now the force total in Italy are the coalition. I have 27 battle points here between the Russians and the Austrians. And the French, they have 76. So they're basically, 50 points. They're 49 points ahead of me at this point. So the only thing I could really do is I could attempt to bring down my 2 British cavalry from Germany into there and my 2 Russian cavalry into Italy. The Prussian Blucher, he cannot go into Italy because they cannot build forces in Italy. Only the British, Russians, and Austrians can, and the Austrians don't have any cav. So even if I was to bring the British and the Russian cavalry down, it would still put me at a quite a hefty negative modifier. I don't think it would really even out, affect the battle above a French pursuit at this point. And I don't want to risk the Russian, all the Russians getting wiped out either. So I'm going to take a gamble here and hope that in the French pursuit that the French don't end up pursuing these forces into Austria. The odds really wouldn't be that much better. Even if I could get both of those cavalry at that point would be able to join up in Austria. So the one good thing about that is Austrian fervor is still pretty low. So you never know. Maybe we could still end up with some crazy die rolling here. But so basically, we just need to roll for light infantry here and see if the French are going to get to pursue into Austria. So Italian fervor is maxed out, so anything but a 6 is going to be French dominance. And we rolled a 5, so it's going to be French dominance. And so we're going to roll 1 die here. And because it's automatically going to be a French pursuit no matter what. We know that result. So basically, the Russians and the Austrians are going to fall back into Austria, but the battle roll still has to be made on a 1 or a 2. The French, all those French units are going to be able to pursue straight into Austria. So we're hoping that there is not a 1 or a 2. And we roll a 2, of course. So guess what? The French are going to pursue, and they're going to leave their weakest unit behind, which is this 3-point infantry unit. That's going to take them down to 73 points. So 73 points worth of French are going to march straight into Austria. And this is not going well. So we'll just move everything here. And you know what? I didn't do French cavalry from France. So there was no coalition cavalry here, no coalition cavalry there. It's adjacent. So anything on a 6, they came down and they joined that attack. And they rolled a 5. So they did join that initial attack, the Italian battle, and they're going to join this entire French army into Austria. So we will add 5 onto that total. And they have 77 battle points going into Austria here at this point. I don't have a choice. I'm going to have to try and get my cav down there. So we'll handle this first. We have Blucher, Wellington, and Uxbridge. Is that yes, and Uxbridge there. So, and there's no French cavalry here. There is French cavalry in Austria now, and it's adjacent, so that's no problem. So 5 or 6 will fail. We'll do Wellington first. We're hoping for a 1 through 4. And we roll a 4. So he will join and go down. And now we will do Uxbridge 1 through 4. And we roll a 1. So Uxbridge will join. And now we'll do Blucher 1 through 4. And we roll a 6. So Blucher will not go. That hurts. Blucher, come on, man. So let me total these battle points up here really quickly. We have between those two stacks, what did we have down in Italy? We had 27. So there's 31, 37, 41, 43, 50, 56. That's not going to be good enough. That's not good enough. That's going to put us down by 21. So let's see what happens here. Austria will do light infantry table. Or Prussia. Yeah, Austria, excuse me. Austrian fervor is at 7. So basically anything but a 1 is going to be French advantage. And we roll a 2, so that's going to be 2 die. And we're going to roll 2d6 on this. It's going to be minus 21 on the die roll, so we already know that it's going to be French pursuit. So on the white die, if it's a 1 or a 2, they will pursue, and we're going to be fleeing into Germany here. And they rolled a 3, which was an excellent roll for the French. They rolled a 2 on the white die. So the coalition is going to continue their retreat into Germany. Austrian fervor is going to raise from 7 to 8. And actually, it's going to be more than that because Napoleon was there. So it's going to raise from 7 to 12. And Austria is going to surrender at the end of this turn here. The weakest French corps looks like a 4. They're going to stay behind. And how many battle points did we have here? We had 56 battle points. So Napoleon's basically chasing the coalition all around here, everywhere. So it'll be, let's see, they're going to lose 4 battle points because they're going to leave that one behind. It's going to take them down to 73. It's going to be my, let's see, 56. 56 would be 62. 68, 71, 74, 76. That would put me at 76 versus their 73. So the French will not pursue. They will stay in Austria, I believe. Let me double check that pursuit really quickly. And I believe the French are going to call it quits here. I just want to make sure. Pursuit. A retreated pursuit. In addition, forcing a retreat. Coalition. French pursuit. If the coalition retreated and the French can pursue, the French reaction will depend on the situation. Victorious French will pursue the retreating coalition into the refuge nation with all their corps from the previous battle minus the one staying behind. If the total strength point of all French units in the refuge nation would be higher than the total of all coalition. Okay, so they will not pursue, and that's going to do it for the battle phase. The Austrians are going to surrender, and yeah, and we didn't shoot, and we didn't cause any French casualties, um, and we didn't control the Bui Nation. So the Napoleon abdication marker is going to go down one from 11 to 10. It's not looking good for us anyway. So I'll go ahead and clear this up. I'll be right back. Okay, so when Austria surrendered, I rolled a d6 to decrease their national or their fervor in favor of the French. So I rolled lucky. It was a 6, so that decreased the Austrian fervor from 12 to 6. And then at the end of the turn, because it was controlled by the French, it went back up 1. So the Austrian fervor is at 7. So it's still at a manageable level in Austria. Every place else is maxed out at 16 fervor in favor of the French. So that's a bad thing. Not only that, but if you look up top here, hopefully it's not cut out of the camera, the Austrian forces have all been moved into the neutral pool because the Austrians have surrendered due to that being under control of the French. So going into next turn, which is going to be turn 8, Spain is going to be the Bui Nation. I'll just move that over there right now so I don't forget. We can see there's already 2 diplomats here. But let's leave that here first because we have to perform the accidents phase. And it is turn 7. So we are going to roll this. And it's 1 die because Napoleon's still young. Let's move those. And we rolled a 2. So it's going to be a naval battle, which there is none anymore. Catholic and Royal Army, irreligious fanaticism, Reign of Terror, the Guillotine, Peace of Basel, and guess what? Germany just surrendered because the Peace of Basel. There's no duchy forces there, and emigres will be also placed. And I don't have the money to place them either, so that'll have to come out of the minor war fund. Things are going very quickly downhill for me. Oh man. And because Germany and Austria surrendered, are both surrendered now, Russia's going to surrender, but that's not going to happen until the end of this turn. So if I can perhaps bring one of these nations back in, that will prevent Russia from surrendering. But if it keeps on going like this, if I can't bring one of those nations back in, if they deploy diplomats here or there, then it's going to be a pretty big problem for me if I can't get those diplomats out. And also, you know, I'm broke. Well, that's going to change at the end of this turn, but there's also the continental system in place here. So, and by the way, the Napoleon, I lost the turn and I didn't cause any French casualties. So the Napoleon abdication marker went from 11 down to 10. More bad news for me. That's probably the worst news of all. Yeah. It's getting deadly here. Give me a second and get through these accidents here and I'll be back at the start of turn 8. Alright, so start of turn 8 here. I went ahead and finished up the accidents from turn 7. The Royalists are in France, emigres are in Germany. I had to spend 2 out of my minor war fund to get them in. The Church of France has been upgraded to full out Catholics. And they are now doing that. So what else? I don't really remember what else happened in the accidents phase besides Germany surrendering. Um, so yeah, the piece of Basel blocking marker is on there. So I think I was saying I was going to try and get them back into the coalition. Well, I can't because that blocking marker is on them. So my only hope really is to get Austria back into the war and go from there. Uh, let's see, the get money phase. I was getting, my total income is 14 at this point. And then because of the continental system, I rolled a d6. That die roll result is right there, 5. So I lost 5 from my income. So I only got 9 in my treasury. Um, and I was broke at that point. So my income was 9, or my treasury was at 9. I put 1 in the minor war fund, moved that back up to 12. That's where it's at. My treasury is at 8. My minor war fund is at 12. My admiralty fund is at 0. Perform printed events. This is the Kingdom of Naples, where Napoleon made his brother-in-law Murat king of Naples. And so we took out the French Cavalry Corps Murat and we replaced it with the Naples Murat counter. So that was placed in the French Corps, and that was the only printed event. So we can go ahead and we can draw high politics chits. Game turn 8 is going to be another 3 high politics chits. So we'll go ahead and we'll draw the first one here. And that's going to be a war in Haiti. Let's see. It's going to be a war of commerce. It's a naval war. So we'll add +2 to the die roll here. We don't have any in the Admiralty fund, so that takes care of that. Minor war fund. I got 12. We'll go ahead and we'll put 2 into it. So it's going to be a total of +4. Minor war fund is at 10 now. So it's going to be 2d6. We got to beat a 9 or more, and we got a +4. And it's cocked eye. And we roll a 5 total. 5 plus 4 is 9. So that was just enough to handle that. And you know what? Now that I'm seeing this, Germany and Austria both surrendered. So that's going to be, we did not get those 4 income from there. So we're going to take our treasury down another 4 to make up. We did not get to 2, did not get to 2. So we're going to take it from 8 to 4. And that's where our treasury is at 4 pounds. We should put those over there. Actually, you know what? We should put the surrendered markers over. And that will help us remember that we're not getting that income. So, yeah. Our treasury is at 4. And we just won the minor war of Haiti, which, honestly, who cares at this point? Wouldn't have mattered either way, really. I mean, yeah, we would have lost the extra 1 income. We would have had to flip the minor war marker over, so it would have been a loss on the map there. But at this point, like I said, London is just shrugging their shoulders. What? Who cares about Haiti? So, yeah, 2 more chits to draw here. So those are chits. Nope. So second chit is minor war in Serbia. Serbia is going to be a strategic location, and it's going to need a 12 or more. Our minor war fund is at a 10. We're going to put 5 into it. There's no anchor there, so that can't help us. So it's going to be +5. We need a 12 or more on 2d6. And we roll a 7, which is exactly a 12. So we also win the minor war in Serbia. That will move the Napoleon abdication marker from 10 to 11. And now we need to draw 1 more high politics chit. Minor war in the Balkans. And the Balkans is, whoops, that's supposed to be in Corfu. I need to look this up here in just a minute, so give me a second. Okay, so it needs an 11 or more to win the battle in the Balkans. The Ottomans are there. It's going to be a -2 on the die roll. So I'm not going to spend any money out of my treasury on the minor war. I can't afford it. My minor war fund is at 5. So it's basically going to be an automatic loss. We rolled a 5, -2 is 5. So that is going to stay there. We can get rid of that. And this Russian war is going to go up to the Balkans. So Napoleon's one step closer to invading Russia. We now have a minor war loss on the table there. So that will stay until we can get it removed. Not really worried about it at this point. And that's going to be it. When we did Haiti and we did Serbia, neither of those added any additional chits into the diplomacy cup. So it's all settled. That's going to take care of the high diplomacy phase. I don't want to, nor do I have the funds to purchase another high diplomacy chit. So we're going to skip right along there and move into the French diplomacy phase. I think we can go ahead and roll for that right now. I don't have anything better to do, so let's see where these French diplomats go. 1 goes to France. That's a wasted roll. There's already 2 there. Second diplomat is going to go to 4, which is going to be Italy. So that's a good thing for us. That'll be easy to bring Austria back into the fold. I'll just have to spend the 2. The Bui nation this turn is Spain, by the way. So I don't even think I have enough money to try and get those guys out of there in the first place. I kind of need to conserve it. So yeah. Okay. Well, I'll be right back. All right, guys. So basically, I did my counter diplomacy phase, and the only thing I did was move the diplomat down in Austria and spent £2 to bring them back into the coalition. So I got my Austrian forces back. The Prussians are still surrendered at this point. I think now that you've gotten the gist of the game, and this video is going to be the 3rd part, and I think this one's getting rather lengthy. I think I'm just going to go ahead and finish playing this game, and I am going to come back and kind of do a follow-up when I have either been defeated, sued for peace, or won the game. And at this point, I doubt I'm going to win. Things are going downhill, like I said. So anyway, I'll be back here in a little bit to tell you what happened. We'll wrap this up. And I'm excited to do a review on this game.